let's talk about achievement and our level of desire to see it come full circle. Essentially, it comes down to one fundamental question: how internally motivated are we all to see our goals cross the finish line of completion, and how hard are we willing to work until we exhaust all options to be successful? When it comes to health and fitness, Americans seem to be on the move. According to the Forbes Health-OnePoll survey, 55% of Americans say that improving their physical health is equally as important as maintaining their mental sharpness this year. That's an increase from 2023, when 39% of Americans said that it was their top priority. And when it comes to industry dynamics in the health and fitness space, those are also growing as well. According to the market research company IBISWorld, the size of the fitness and gym franchise industry is growing rapidly. It's estimated that the size of the industry in the health and fitness gym franchise space was set to exceed more than $7 billion as of 2023. For my friend Devan Gonzalez, he'll be happy to know and receive this optimistic news. He's a mindset-driven entrepreneur, the CEO of Strive 11 Fitness, the host of the Mindset Cafe podcast, and a soon-to-be author. His passions lie in the fields of personal development, fitness, and community building. He empowers others to unlock their potential by breaking through mental barriers and embracing resilience. Through his journey as a gym owner to thought leader, he inspires others to pursue growth, achieve real results, and live with purpose. And Gonzalez joined me this week to tell me more. I'm Kevin McShann. Let's have this conversation. Absolutely. So, Devin, if you're ready, we'll dive right into it, my friend. And I'm excited to learn about your journey in entrepreneurship, fitness, and in life, my friend. Great to see you. And thank you for a few minutes this afternoon, my friend.
Of course, it is my pleasure. Thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with me.
Absolutely. So, Devin, just before I dive into your journey as an entrepreneur, I know it's American Thanksgiving tomorrow, my friend. So tell me, what are you most thankful for in life, my friend?
I am most thankful, I will say, for my daughter and my wife. You know, that money can't buy those things. And it's one of those things where, you know, my daughter is my world and my wife is definitely my better half. One of my clients, one of my members just, you know, made a funny analogy. You know, my wife is, you know, not my better half, but my better 2/3.
Yeah, absolutely. And once you become a girl dad, you never go back, right?
Exactly. When you first have your first kid, you know, people always ask, you know, the guy, like, what do you want? And most of them say a boy. And then if you do have a girl, then, you know, for your second one, people are like, oh, so now you want a boy? I'm like, honestly, I would take another girl. Like, you know, they're awesome.
Well, It takes a special person to be a girl dad, doesn't it?
It does. It takes it. You have to learn a new sense of patience and a new level of caring. And sometimes I think that's what the world, is destined for you, because people have always said, I'm cold hearted or very, straightforward. And with a daughter, you have to be a little more, patient and understanding and give them affection and all those kind of things, where that's naturally not me. So with her, though, she brings it out of me.
Well, I always say that life is a learning experience, Devin. There's a sign in my office that says the day that we stop learning is the day that we die, right? We can always learn something from somebody, right?
Exactly. That is one of my core values. Extract the lesson from everything in life.
Absolutely, my friend. Now, Devin, you describe yourself as a mindset-driven entrepreneur, and I wanted to begin the core of our conversation by asking you, what does that mean to you, buddy, to be a mindset-driven entrepreneur?
I think that, everything starts from somewhere, and mindset really is the foundation of everything in life, right? So being a mindset driven entrepreneur, it's one of those things where you're not focused so much on just building something to build something. You're building something that is trying to impact, not only yourself, but everyone that is surrounding you. And you have to realize that there's ups and downs, but at the end of the day, every down or every obstacle or every hurdle that you overcome or you face is just an opportunity of growth. And once you start to realize that, and you start to, shape your perspective or your lens of reality, it changes the game of entrepreneurship for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, my friend, I know that you're the CEO of Strive 11 Fitness and the host of the Mindset Cafe podcast, my friend, and you're a soon-to-be author, my friend, so I don't know how you had time to sit down and talk to me, but tell me, where does your sense of ambition come from, my friend, and tell me about all those endeavors, my friend. What keeps you busy during the day?
Yeah, I mean, it's all about, time management, right? I mean, there's only 24 hours in the day, but, if Elon Musk can, build spaceships and, continue to build Tesla and do all these things, right? It just shows you that, it's all about time management. So for me, it's the business itself, my business, my franchise. That's the main thing, right? The podcast and all those kind of things, that's secondary to my actual business. That's more for kind of giving an additional step, towards my true core value, which is having impact. So if I could help someone else, shape their mindset and shape, their own personal journey, that's only, a benefit to me. And, for the author, that's my way of giving back. I'm writing a book right now. I'm actually in the last stages. The editor just sent it over to me, so I just gotta go through it and check all the little final things and dot the I's and cross the T's. But that's it's going to be a blueprint, essentially for aspiring gym owners, right? So I built a gym. I built a franchise. We're going to be launching in a few other states, and we just launched a franchise this year. And it's just one of those things where whether you want to join onto the franchise or you want to do it yourself, this book is really designed to have a positive impact and really help you do that. So it really comes down to, again, just time management and really focusing on what is your priorities in life, and what do you want out of life.
Yeah, and tell me about the book, my friend. Why you decided to write it? What's the title of it, and what do you hope people get from it, my friend?
Yeah, so the book's title is Money Muscle Mindset, right? For aspiring, it's the blueprint or the playbook for aspiring gym owners. And really that book, it goes into the three pillars, right? Money, muscle, and mindset. And so money, talking about, your finances and, how to manage gym finances and really, forecast and do all those kind of things. But then going into like the muscle aspect, how to write, workouts and how to really lead by example. Because I mean, if you're a gym owner, if you're a fitness enthusiast, like you got to be able to not just talk the talk, but walk the walk as well. And that's what really starts to shape your community around you. And then lastly, and most importantly, it's mindset, right? So the book starts and ends with a chapter about mindset and how it's not just about doing the fundamentals of, I need to do a sales program here and I need to do a price strategy here. It really comes down to your own personal development journey, right? The book begins with you and it ends with you, just like your business will begin with you and it will end with you. If you stop nurturing yourself, then again, everyone that's on your team, they're trying to be like you, right? You're supposed to be the role model. So again, if you don't want your team to suffer and you want your team to grow, then well, you got to really focus on you first.
Yeah, absolutely. And Devin, I know you're a big believer in personal development and really growing community, both in fitness and in business, my friend. So talk to me about helping people in their personal development journey, because I also know that it's important to you to help people unlock their mental blocks in life. So tell me about it, Tony.
Yeah, I mean, it all starts with, the mindset, right? If you don't believe in yourself, how can you really depend on someone or count on someone else to believe in you? Right? So you have to really start to shape your purpose or your why. Why do you want to achieve this goal? Why do you want to, let's say lose 10 pounds? Why do you want to, start a business? And then once you find out what your why, then why is that your goal? Ask it a couple times, right? Really dig deep, because at the end of the day, there are going to be, days you're motivated and there's going to be days that you're not. But no matter what, it's not that like you can't get through it, right? The days that you don't feel like doing it, well, that's a day you should be telling yourself, good, this is a day that I get to build my habit. The days that you are motivated, everything is easy. But the days that you're not, that's when the true habit is built, right? Whether it's, eating clean or, getting a workout in, or, taking that extra hour to, do your business's bookkeeping, right? Whatever the case is, it's those things that you don't want to do. When you do them, that's what starts to build that discipline and that character of you getting better 1% every single day.
Yeah, absolutely. And Devin, I'm going to share just a little bit about myself before I ask you my next question. So,
Yep.
Devin, fitness is important to me for a different reason, buddy. So I was born with cerebral palsy, and the type of cerebral palsy I have is called spastic quadriplegia. It simply means that I don't have enough oxygen to walk normally. I've had 7 surgeries in my life, and at 9 years old, Devin, I found out that I wouldn't be able to walk for the duration of my life without assistance. So, and as a result of my disability, my muscles contract faster than most people. And, I want to ask you about the concept of resilience, because people always tell me that I'm an inspirational person, and I always tell them I'm simply living my life, and if I'm resilient or inspirational, that's great, but it all starts for me from the concept of resilience and sort of writing your own narrative to your own story, my friend. So what does the power of resilience mean to you, my friend?
Well, first let's dive into what you're saying, right? It's because this is going to be an important aspect, right? When someone tells you personally, right, you're an inspiration. You're right. You have exemplary. You have an exemplary demonstration of resilience. Like, what does that do for you personally?
Well, it gives me the energy and enthusiasm to, lead by example. The biggest leaders always don't have to be the loudest, my friend. And I think if you lead by example, you can set the standards for others to follow, because life is all about setting expectations for yourself, first and foremost, because I believe that, you have to have internal motivation and the expectation of yourself before you can rise to the level of anybody else's. But when you are reaffirmed in that way, it just gives you sort of the affirmation that the philosophy that you've curated for your life is the one you're supposed to follow. So I hope that answers the question.
No, it does. And you actually, said a really crucial part that I was looking for in that, right? It gives you it makes you feel good. It makes you want to lead by example, and it makes you, feel motivated, right? But then you said something really important, that you have to have the self-belief, right? So resilience starts with self, right? Resilience starts with you, right? If you believe you're resilient, then you're resilient. But someone telling you you're resilient doesn't mean anything, right? It might feel good, right? Someone tells you you're a rock star. That's like, okay, cool. It's a pat on the back. But at the end of the day, you have to believe it yourself, right? And you have to be able to believe it yourself in order for you to lead by example, right? Resilience all comes down to, again, doing the things that you don't want to do them, the things you don't want to do when you don't want to do them, and you still do that anyways. You get faced with obstacles yourself. You're faced with an obstacle that most people don't have to and will never be able to put themselves in your shoes, right? So them saying that you're resilient, for you, it might feel like a compliment, but at the same time, you also said, I'm just living my life, right? And so at the same, you have to think about it like, are they telling me it just because, are they being nice, or is it because I'm living a resilient life? And then that's when you start to build that belief, because from what I see, you are living a resilient life. I mean, you got an awesome podcast, you're doing things, you're not letting a disability hold you back from doing things, right? So that is being resilient, right? If you're just, going about your day, just doing normal tasks and not really trying to push your own boundaries, then what is resilient about that? Right? But you have taken lead and leading by example for someone else in your case scenario to be like, wow, look at him. He is an inspiration to someone like me, right? And then that expands even further and has a ripple effect on someone, on anyone, any listener of this podcast. You'd be like, wow, like he's doing all those things, and I don't want to get up and, not watch Netflix today, and I can't go get a workout in. Right. So those are the things, you're leading by example in so many different ways than you would even think of. And in some ways, it might just feel like you're just living your life. But at the end of the day, that's because you've already built up so much resilience that a little obstacle doesn't even feel like an obstacle to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, my friend, I'm going to turn the tables on you and ask you about your personal journey from becoming a gym owner to a franchise leader now, my friend, because I know it's been quite the journey for you, and it's all led or rooted in the pursuit of growth and the achievement of your results and purpose, my friend. So tell me about your personal journey and why this work is your passion and purpose, my friend.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, great question. I mean, my journey has definitely not been, the easiest either, right? I've tried to open a gym for, before we opened the gym, I would say probably 3, 4, or 5 years, and different business partners and different, failed investors and that whole thing, get your hopes up, looking at locations, and then it, falling through, or them pulling the deal or me pulling the deal, whatever the case is. And then, finally, COVID hit. Once everything was starting to line up, COVID hit, and then, we had to put everything on pause. And during that time, I was running a personal training company, my personal training business. And I say it was a company, but it was really just myself, right? I was a solopreneur. And during that time, yes, I was making 6 figures, but I knew that, my goal was to open a gym and do this model that isn't like any other. And I wasn't going to settle for anything else, right? So my goal is always to do what others, say they're going to do. And, if I tell myself I'm going to do it, like, it's not a matter of if, a matter of when. So even though it took me 5-ish years to open the gym, it opened, right? Then my goal was, okay, well, a lot of trainers say they're going to open a gym, but only, let's say, the top, 10%, and that's probably a high number, do. And then from there, it's like, how many gym owners actually franchise their business? Get it to a place where they can actually franchise. Probably, less than 1% of gym owners, right? And so it's like, I want to do the thing that the least, least traveled path, right? It's not that it's never been done before. I'm not trying to, reinvent the wheel per se, but I'm not trying to create a wheel from scratch, but I want to do what others, think it's impossible, right? When I opened a gym and told people I wanted a franchise, they're like, why are you going to do that? Just open your own, your next one and just focus on you. It's like, because it's like, I know it's going to be hard, but at the same time, like, that's where the most rewarding thing is. And for me, my core value is to have a positive impact on as many lives as I can. Can I do that faster through opening my own corporate locations, or can I do that with franchising and helping other people open up their gyms, having a positive impact on their lives, achieving their dreams, and then having a ripple effect on their members, right? So there's days, I mean, it took me 13 months. We launched our franchise, at the end of last year, which if, the legal team would have told me that some of the bumps I was going to face, I would have waited until January this year to launch it, but that's here nor there, right? And then it took me 13 months of calling leads and doing these presentations to actually close my first deal. And believe me, there was days where I wanted to basically say, F this, I don't want to do it. I'm closing the franchise side for now. Let's just focus on us. But then you get in your own head and you're like, you know what? Like you knew this was going to be hard. Like, pick yourself up, dust yourself off and get back in there. Right. This is the path you wanted. You wanted hard. Now that hard is being presented to you. Now you're complaining about it.
Yeah, Devin, listening to you talk, my friend, the first thought that popped into my mind is if you don't climb the mountain, you'll never get to the top, right?
Exactly.
Absolutely, my friend. Now, I want to talk to you about, actionable action steps and insights that people can take, in control of their own lives to really maximize their potential. So I want to talk to you about internal motivation and the action steps to keep that high. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, you have to first, you have a goal, right? Or you have a dream, let's say. Right. And now that we're nearing the end of 2024, when we're recording this right now, like I guarantee most people are going to have a New Year's resolution. Right. And if that New Year's resolution was the same resolution as it was last year, like this is your year to actually put it into action. Right. So let's talk about New Year's resolutions. Right. And so a dream or a goal, right. Let's say they're the same word, dream or a goal, is just something that's in your head. Right. And when you're able to put that down on paper, now it becomes a plan. And then when you can start to break that down into smaller steps, right? Now you starting to build a plan and an action plan to actually accomplish that goal. Now, the thing is, you don't know all the steps. And that's okay, because some things like launching a franchise, there were steps I didn't know until it got presented to me, right? And so you have to realize that your plan in anything in life, business, personal development, fitness, they have to be adjustable. Right? You can write a perfect business plan on paper, and then I guarantee you, once you open your doors, it's going to be thrown to the wind. Right? So you have to realize that it all starts with, why do you want to achieve this goal? Why do you want to have this New Year's resolution? Right? What is the purpose behind you having that goal? Why achieving that goal? Why would it make your life better? And once you can figure that out, that's going to be your first reason to really set in, and that's going to be your internal motivation. Now, in terms of actionable steps, again, you have to believe, step one is believing in yourself. Believe in yourself that you can accomplish it, right? If you don't believe in yourself, then again, no one else can believe in you, right? And the second step is realize that there's milestones to your goal. Right? Now realize milestones are not everyday, goals that you're accomplishing. Milestones is a mile. That's a distance, right? So what is the 1 foot goal you can accomplish today, and the yard that you can accomplish this week? And those start to add up to your milestones that you achieve throughout the year.
Yeah, and Devin, now I want to ask you about a lifestyle question. Devin, when I look at the world, and one of the reasons I wanted to start this podcast is I wanted people to look at life through a culture of kindness and information. So I'm curious to ask you, my friend, from a lifestyle and life standpoint, how do you think we can foster a culture of kindness and connection when we connect with people from a social setting? What are your thoughts there?
I think it all starts with listening, right? When someone's talking to you and stuff, and it goes back to something we both said earlier, right? You can learn something from every different aspect of your day, right? A conversation, right? An interaction with someone. If I say something to a member or to someone on the street and they have a reaction that I wasn't anticipating, I have to think, why did they react that way, right? And so to foster a community or a culture of kindness, it really comes down to understanding your own emotional intelligence, right? If you're a reactive person, why are you reacting? Someone upset you, why are you upset? Right, and realize that other people have their own things going on, right? So just because you're in a rush and you're getting frustrated with everyone else, like who knows what that other person has going on in their life? They might be in a rush. They might have just lost a loved one. They may, have been having the worst day ever, right? So other people's worlds don't revolve around you, and once you start to realize that and have some empathy for other people being people and not just cogs in your day and your world, then you can start to open up your mind and your perspective of really having kindness towards others, because at the same time you're just one fraction of their day, just like they're one fraction of yours.
Yeah, and Devin, I want to explore the concept of patient urgency, and I'll use myself as an example. So, Devin, I graduated college in 2010, my friend, and when I graduated college, I went on 10 consecutive job interviews. So I graduated college with a sports journalism degree, and I went on 10 consecutive job interviews, and each time I went on a job interview, a news director would look at me and look at my resume and see that I had a disability, and they said they couldn't hire me because at the time they viewed my disability as a liability. So 4 years out of college, I volunteered as a sports and general assignment reporter for a community television station, and then I didn't get my first paying job until 6 years out of college, after my advocacy work as a volunteer reporter. So I'm curious to get your thoughts on the concept of everything in life happens for a reason, and the concept of patient resilience. What are your thoughts there, my friend?
I think everything does happen for a reason. I mean, I'm glad that those other business partnerships that, I was trying to cultivate didn't happen, because I would definitely wouldn't be where I'm at right now. I don't know where I'd be, but I don't think I would be in the position mentally or, successfully as I am right now. But at the same time, like, just because someone doesn't turns you down for the 10 job interviews doesn't mean the 11th wouldn't work. Right. So you have a choice to make. You can either continue down that path, right? I mean, just like I did for the franchise, and for 13 months, day after day, calling, the leads that were coming in, and so forth. Right. And not stopping until you get a yes. Or you can do something that, you did, and you can make a pivot, right? So my whole thing is I'm huge on active patience, right? For example, like we're trying to expand into Vancouver, Washington, which, you being Canadian, I only thought there was one Vancouver, which was in Canada. I didn't know that we had a Vancouver down here in the States, but we're trying to expand into Vancouver, Washington, and we got hit with, basically a pause phase that it's taken almost, 8 months, 9 months to even get approved in the state. And there's nothing that we can do. So it's just active patience. What else can I do now? What do I have in my control right now? And the rest, I don't get stressed about it, because there's too many other things in the day to be stressed about. Right. So if I can't do anything about it or change it or whatever, then I don't worry or stress about it. Now, one thing I will say, with something like, with, let's say, your story of, the 10 job interviews and stuff like that, right? I mean, that goes for anything in life, right? There's only a limited amount of job opportunities and a limited amount of spots, and there's more people than there are jobs, I guarantee, for certain industries. Now, with that being said, you can either, try to appease the next person and, hope that they give you a spot at their table, or you can do something like this and podcast and make your own table, right? It's the world is endless in possibilities, but you have to realize that you have to be able to open your mind and think kind of outside the box if you need to, such as, yourself with taking the volunteer work. Sometimes it takes that apprenticeship, right? Sometimes it takes going a little detour to get back on path, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, in that vein, my friend, what do you think it means to seize opportunity in life, or take advantage of opportunity? Because, if you wait for opportunities to find you, my friend, you'll be waiting a long time if you're not actionable on the opportunities that are right in front of you. So what does it mean to you to seize opportunity in life?
So, I mean, seizing opportunity, it really comes down to you already looking and having the mindset of opportunity, right? If you're thinking that the world is against you and stuff, you're not going to see opportunities as they come. Every day presents opportunities, and it's you have the choice to take them or not take them. But at the same time, if you're waiting for the moment to be perfect, I guarantee that moment will never come, right? You're never going to have that right moment or that perfect time. There's always going to be something that you can use it as an excuse. But at the same time, like you have to seize the opportunity to know whether it's going to work or not work. If it doesn't work, then you pivot, right? And that's the thing, is that people too are too scared to take opportunity, because what if they don't succeed? What if they don't fail? It's like, but what if this was the best opportunity that was ever presented to you and you would never know because you didn't seize that opportunity, right? What if this opportunity led to your next opportunity of that was your dream opportunity, right? So it's like you have to realize that if a door is open, sometimes you gotta take that step in. See if it is the opportunity that you're looking for. If it's not, no one's holding you there. You're not hostage. You could leave it. You could, switch. You could pivot, do what you want. But at the same time, realize you don't know if you don't step in.
Yeah, and I know as a small business owner, and you've scaled your small business now into a national franchise, you say you've gained unique insights in leadership, resilience, and community building, my friend, and that can resonate across multiple industries, my friend. So tell me, what do you think is the most valuable lessons you've learned surrounding those concepts, my friend? What are your thoughts there?
I mean, in terms of business, in terms of building a community, in terms of my own personal development journey, I would say never. One of my biggest lessons I've learned along my fitness journey, my fitness career journey, is never judge a book by its cover. Right. I've met millionaires that dress like, they just came off the street. And then I've met, people that have, no money or have disabilities that, or whatever. Like, you never judge a book by cover, because you don't know what the person's capable of or what opportunities, present themselves with that person or who they can refer you to. So at the end of the day, you have to realize, if you're trying to build a community, you got to be kind to everyone. You have to listen to everyone, extract the lesson from each person you encounter. Right. And if you can do that, I guarantee you will have more knowledge than you will take out of a single book.
Yeah, absolutely. And Devin, I wanted to talk to you about the intersection between business and personal growth, my friend, and fostering that community through entrepreneurship. So how do you think we can do that on a consistent basis in order to optimize both the entrepreneurial and the personal growth side of community building? What are your thoughts there?
So, I mean, you have to start with, finding a like-minded group of individuals, right? Whether it is a reading group, entrepreneurs that, like to read and like to, essentially like a book club, or entrepreneurs that like to, work out, right? And you find your group of people that resemble you, and you can kind of bounce ideas off of. I'm part of, masterminds and networks and stuff like that. And that helps on the business side, because you can present your problems, your obstacles, and then you get a bunch of different perspectives on it. But then at the end of the day, there has to be something more to it, right? We're all in there not just to be better at business, but to be better husbands or wives, and be better, in our own fitness journeys. Because at the end of the day, we're as an entrepreneur, and especially as a business owner, you're the leader for your team, right? You're supposed to be that role model. So if you're radiating personal growth, again, no one on your team is going to want to be the weak link.
Yeah, absolutely. And, doing research for our conversation today, buddy, I went through your Instagram, and one thing that stood out to me is, from a fitness perspective, you say that mistakes are acceptable, but excuses aren't. And, I think excuses are determines the progress, my friend. So talk to me about of the relationship between mistakes and excuses, and how you think they're interconnected in fitness, my friend.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, in fitness and in business and in life, excuses is just shifting the blame from yourself to something else, right? You're deterring or shifting blame, where a mistake is, look, you messed up. right? A mistake is, you didn't wake up on time. You didn't plan out, that you needed an extra 10 minutes to finish your workout. You didn't plan out that you weren't going to have enough time to, grab the nutritious food. So you didn't plan out, bringing your own food, your own meals, right? So all those things, like if you're able to be like, look, it was my bad, I messed up, look, that's boom, now you learn from that. But by shifting it and be like, you know what, there was so much traffic and my boss didn't let me out on time and this is why, and it's like, no, what did you do, or what could you have done? Right, that's the mistake. Right, so I accept from my team, from my wife, everything, like mistakes happen. That's life. I make mistakes all the time, right? But if you are only using excuses, then you're not going to become better. And when that obstacle or that hurdle presents itself again, you're going to do the same exact thing, right?
Yeah. And Devin, I wanted to ask you about the relationship between people with disabilities and the fitness industry in general. My friend, is I'm sure you know, last month was National Disability Employment Awareness Month across the country, both here in Canada and the States, my friend. And for people with disabilities, they're employed at a rate of 3.5% in the States, as compared to their non-disabled counterparts who are employed at a rate of 7.2%, my friend. So I'm curious to ask you about the gym industry specifically, and the opportunities that are presented for folks with disabilities to be a part of the community, not only in lifestyle, but in work as well. Well, my friend, how important do you think that is?
I mean, it definitely, if you want the opportunity bad enough, then the opportunity is there somewhere, right? You just got to find it. Now, in terms of like the percentages and stuff, I think that those kind of percentages I always get a little bit, skeptical on, just because it's like, okay, well, how many people are we talking about, and how many, is it 50-50, to start, or was there, one disability person to every 10, and now, okay, well, that number is going to be lower anyways, right? So my whole thing is, if you want something bad enough, where there's a will, there's a way, right? And just because you have a disability shouldn't disqualify you from something. Now, let's say for example, someone in your case scenario, you might not be, the head coach running in front of the team for track and field, right? Or, teaching someone how to run a marathon. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that that's the whole fitness industry, right? I've seen people with disabilities do bodybuilding competitions. I've had clients with disabilities. I've seen trainers with disabilities, right? But just because you have a disability, if you're telling yourself that you can't get a job for, a certain reason, or you're letting someone else tell you that you can't do this because of that disability, then you're selling yourself short.
Yeah, and in terms of changing the attitude of gym owners or people who work in the fitness industry, what do you think is the key to changing the mindsets of folks in a position of power to give folks with disabilities a chance to work? What are your thoughts there, my friend?
I mean, my whole thing is, in my company, it's all about who's most qualified for the job, and that's who gets the job. And it doesn't come down to physically or only mentally. It's a whole combination, right? From just personality. Right, that's where it starts for me. If I wouldn't have you over for, Sunday brunch or a barbecue in my backyard or my house with my kids and my wife, then I'm not going to hire you. And I don't hire people just because I don't promote people just because they've been at the company for X amount of years. You could be there for 1 month and get promoted before the person that's been there for 5 years. Whoever's the best for the job at the time gets the job, right? Now, in terms of opening your mind, I think this is where having that open mind and really being able to extract the lesson, and taking that lesson that I've learned over my career and not prejudging a book by its cover really needs to be taken into consideration, right? Just because someone walks in the door, and I've had trainers that I was going to hire come in my doors, and they're huge, they're buff, they look like NFL superstars. And all of a sudden I see them do a workout and I'm like, what? what what are you kidding me? You know? And it's like that doesn't mean anything to me. Right. So looks, appearance, disability, not disability, that doesn't mean anything to me. At the end of the day, can you do the job? Are you the best for the job? Let's do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Devin, I want to talk to you about achieving clarity and navigating challenges through clarity, my friend. And how do you think we can balance that sort of mandated life considering the environment we live in today, my friend? So what do you think is the key to achieving clarity in business and in life, my friend?
I think, achieving clarity in life in any area really comes down to, again, your mindset. Really, like having clarity to me means, like, are you clear on what you want? You may not have the clearest path of how you're going to achieve it, but is your goal clear in your mind? Can you see yourself? Can you create a visual of you doing that, right? Getting that gold medal, getting that job promotion, whatever the case is, right? Can you picture it in your mind? And if you can picture it in your mind, that's having the mental clarity that it is for you. Now you just have to start, clearing up what the picture is and what the pieces are to align your path to that. But at the same time, it's like walking through the forest with a flashlight, in the middle of the night, right? You can't see the whole forest, but you can see what's right in front of you. Just focus on that. That's what's clear. That's focus on what you can see. Take that next step.
Yeah, absolutely. And you and I both feel that running a fitness business provides both unique challenges and rewards, my friend. So I'm curious, what steps or questions did you ask yourself in terms of your areas of focus, my friend, to make sure that your fitness business and sort of your mantra runs as smoothly as possible? What are your thoughts there?
So, I mean, our motto in the gym, so our gym's called Strive, Live, and Fitness, but our motto is never give up, right? And we have it on our shirts, and everything like that. And that's where I really take it to heart is, if I said I was going to do something, and a lot of my goals, like I put out into the universe, I'll tell someone, this is what I'm going to do. Like writing the book, for example, I told a couple of people that I was going to write a book. So now for me, like I have to do it. I didn't, there was times that I was like, you know what, I'm too busy for it, but I had to do it. So in terms of that, it really comes down to, in my opinion, not giving up and really striving for your greatness, right? You don't need to strive for someone else's greatness, but what do you want? And then you strive for that and, set your sights high.
Yeah, and from a fitness perspective, I'm a huge believer is that if you value fitness, the other areas of your life will find prosperity, my friend. So talk to me about the correlation between valuing your fitness and the role it plays in the success in other areas or aspects of your life. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, so fitness plays a huge aspect in other areas of your life, and it starts with the habits that it builds, right? It starts from the discipline, it starts from the self-motivation, the self-confidence that gets built, right? And just like in other areas of your life, you start to see results, you start to get more confident in yourself, right? You going to the gym and working out, it's physically difficult. It is physically painful. It is mentally painful, sometimes even emotionally painful. But you do it because you know what the result is going to be after being consistent, and showing up day after day. And the hardest thing I tell people is, is working out, right? Or personal development, because you look at yourself in the mirror, the next day after you just did a workout and you don't see really any change, but yet you go again the next day. And then you don't see any change, and you go again the next day, and you keep doing this, and then all of a sudden you start to see some change, right? So everything that applies to anything in life, right? You try to foster a relationship. Well, you're not going to make a best friend out of one conversation, right? You're not going to start a business just by finding a location. It takes consistency, it takes effort, and it takes belief and dedication in yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And to that point, my friend, how do you challenge yourself to be 1% better each and every day?
My whole thing is, I set my own little power list of what I'm going to accomplish for the day, right? And if I can accomplish everything on the list, right, all those things should be moving the needle in some form or fashion, right? One of the things might be working out. One of the things might be, hopping on a podcast like this, or, getting a bigger task done for the business. But if I can do that each day, and finish my power list for the day, then the business and myself will be 1% better than it was yesterday, whether I felt like doing it or not.
Yeah, absolutely. And Devin, I'm going to get you out on sort of an emotional, personal question, so take as much time as you need to answer it, my friend. My final question for you, my friend. I know your daughter was just born, but I want to know, my friend, when you face the when you face the idea of giving your daughter away at her wedding to whoever she decides to marry, and she has to give a toast about you at the reception. Well, what do you want your daughter to say about you, buddy?
That, that through my, indirect example, right? Just from, I don't want it to be lessons that I've told her. I want her to be able to see, the work that I've been doing, right? I want her to see the things that I've built, and not that, oh, wow, he's built this huge business, the long nights, the hard days, the, ups, the downs, all those things, to realize that life is whatever you want to make it. You can achieve anything in your life that you set your mind to. And just because you have people that are doubting you doesn't mean you need to doubt yourself. Other people's opinions of you have nothing to do with your opinion of yourself.
Fantastic, my friend. And I want to know, my friend, if people want to get connected with you, my friend, what's the best way they can do that?
Probably Instagram, which my handle is Devan, Devan .Gonzalez, Gonzalez.
Well, fantastic, my friend. I have to tell you, I was looking forward to engaging in conversation with you today, buddy. You're really making a transformational shift of difference within the field of health and fitness, my friend. And I want to thank you for the good work that you do to inspire others to maximize their fullest heights of their fullest potential, both from a personal development and fitness space. And I want to thank you for engaging in conversation with me this afternoon. It's most appreciated.
It is definitely my pleasure. Thank you so much for taking the time and having me on your show.